Welcome back to our little show. So we're going to do, this is a little trick of the trade. It's called paint over nasty shit. So notice here, I don't know if you can you see this?
No.
Is there any way to see it?
No.
There's like a pencil mark, there's a little buff mark.
You hold your finger, don't move it.
Okay, and there's another little mark here. And
Don't
you know
move.
what, folks? If you got nasty little marks on your walls that are 99.999% pristine, perfect, what I recommend is called the old paint over tune-up technique.
Sort of like the comb over.
Sort of like the comb over. A little bit that way, and that'll be appropriate because you can see the bald part of my head while I do this. Now, I had the paint matched. If it's not matched, then you're going to be hearing some loud screaming going on in a second. So this is completely live. Notice the paint. I don't know if Glenn's showing this to you. So there's the little paint. So
Looks like paint.
We're going to just go for it and we'll see what happens.
Aren't you supposed to use a roller so it doesn't?
No. So there you go. So there's one little thing that's covered up. So we're just going to go for it. And you know what? We're just going to hope that God is on our side because you know what? There's a certain amount of uncertainty in this whole process.
Sure you don't want to use a roller so the texture matches?
Don't upstage me, honey. Just deal with it. There we go. So there's a little mark. There's a buff mark. Probably some person with oil on their arm. And tomorrow we'll look at this and we'll either be really happy or we'll be very sad. We can deal with the sadness because you know there's a certain amount of sadness in living, right, Regina? Regina, would you agree? Sneeze. Sneeze if you agree. Do you agree? Sneeze. Sneeze. Good girl. And Regina agrees. Even her with her little doggy. Look at this nasty scratch. This is probably from our cleaner. She probably did something that she wasn't supposed to do. So we paint over it. We go, bad girl, don't mess up our little walls. So there, it's as simple as that, and we'll do another little look. And the other thing that's really good about paint is you can actually paint over dirt. I have found that, why waste your time trying to clean a wall when you can just paint over those few dirty spots? So there's a few spots that, they're probably just dirty, but you know what? It's a lot. I already have paint. I could go and get like soapy water, or I could just apply a little bit of paint. Look at that. It's so simple. It could be like a sponge with soap and water on it, or it could be a paintbrush with color. What would you prefer using? What's more satisfying? A couple little spots here, a little mark. Oh, get rid of that dang mark. I hate those little marks. It's like a blemish. Our dog is yawning right now, if you can believe it. So basically, that's the technique. But what I really recommend, I've had a lot of success in many of my years of living by just painting over marks. And one thing I really do want to say is don't get those little sponge brushes that are supposed to clean off your walls. You know what they do? They make that little spot that you clean off lighter colored. And then you have to go back a year later and get paint and paint over it because it's the wrong darn color. Well, thank you very much for joining me on my little paint touch-up lesson, and have a lovely evening.